Hello there. In this video I'm gonna show you how you can make a scene like I recently did with the ATSD for free using DaVinci Resolve 19. Now if you're unfamiliar with DaVinci, you can just watch some tutorials and you'll be good to go. Right, so now that I am here in DaVinci and I have my footage, I'm just gonna go over to Fusion just like this, and the first thing I'm gonna do is to simply press Control and space, and I'm gonna add the delta key here, just like that, and then I'm gonna drag the media in one and the delta key in there and the media out there. And what you now want to do is to go to this like a pen looking thingy, and you want to just drag it over here. Make sure it's as close as possible to your object, just like that. And as you can see, the green screen is now pretty much gone. And I'm just gonna turn off the checker underlayer because that's not really necessary. And then I'm gonna go over to this screen right here and I'm gonna click up here, just like that. And as you can see, it looks kind of weird, you know, it's all like white and black. And basically what this means is that all the white, that is, you know, the stuff that I want to have here, that is the stuff that will be in the final product. And the black part is, you know, what we don't want to have here, and which will eventually become the background. Now, as you can see, there's a lot of white and gray parts of, you know, the background that I don't want to have. So the first thing you're going to do is to go over here to key, and you want to change the gain and the balance. So when I put up the gain a little bit, as you can see, it already gets rid of some of the grayness that is here on the background. You're just gonna find what works for you. You know, for some people, you know, you want to put the gain up to max, or for some other people you might, you know, you might want to take the balance up to max. It's really up to you. Now the second thing you're going to do is to go over to pre-matte, and you simply want to select this area here that you don't want to have, just like that. And as you can see, I just got rid of most of the stuff I don't want to be there. And I'm going to do that again, just like that. Now you don't want to overdo this because, you know, then it's gonna, you know, it's gonna affect the rest of the footage. And then what you can do is go over to blur, to blur it out a little bit, just like that. Maybe soften the edges a little bit. Now as you can see, it looks way better than before, but there is more you can do. So I'm gonna go over to matte, and I'm gonna change the threshold. Gonna change the low here a little bit, and then I'm gonna take down the high, and as you can see, pretty much everything becomes white. Everywhere I want it to be becomes white. I don't really know why. I don't really understand this whole green screen stuff myself. This is just what works. Right, so as you can see, it now looks way cleaner, especially within the place where I want it to be clean. Now, if you do find yourself having some parts that, you know, still doesn't really want to disappear, what you can do is to just add a B-spline, drag it down here, and just select around the area, and then just go to the B-spline and drag it to the triangle down here. Now I don't know why, but for some reason when I, you know, drag it to, you know, the pink triangle or this other one right here, it just doesn't work. So make sure you drag it down there. And as you can see, it's now completely dark, and we don't really want that. So just go back to delta key here, click on mask, and here where it says garbage matte, just click on invert. You see, it's all gone. Now, if your character or like your object or whatever is like moving a lot, then you can just like change the whole mask, you know, throughout the animation. If I just skip like 20 frames or something and then move it, you know, as you can see, it now just moves. So you can do that if you got a scene where, you know, you need to move something. So yeah, that's pretty much all you need to know in terms of the green screening. Right, so the first thing you're gonna need when you're gonna make the background is obviously the stock footage. So as you can see here, I got some pretty good stock footage of some, you know, rain and some clouds and fog that I got from productioncrate.com. Now 90% of their stuff is behind a premium subscription. However, the free things that they do have are usually pretty good. But if you don't like any of their free stuff, I'm sure there are some other websites, or maybe you can just go on Google and, you know, get some photos from there. Who knows? It's up to you. Right, so first thing I'm gonna do is just take my foggy footage here, I'm gonna drag it down here, connect it here, and as you can see, it now covers up the entire screen, and we don't really want that. So I'm going to go over here to operator, and I'm going to make sure that it's underneath, just like that. And to me, this is way too bright, so I'm just gonna go to blend and turn it pretty far down to make it match the environment more. And then I'm gonna copy and paste the same thing, just like that. Now for this one, I'm just gonna flip like that. And again, make sure it's underneath and turn blend all the way down here. Now if you feel like your footage is moving in the wrong direction, you know, you can simply just rotate it like this. Maybe make it a bit bigger. You just rotate it around until you feel like it's moving in the right direction. Pretty simple. Now to make the weather a bit more realistic, I'm gonna copy and paste this once again. Gonna connect it here. And then this time, instead of clicking under, I'm just gonna click on screen right above where it says apply mode. And as you can see, it is now above the footage. And now I'm just gonna take the blend pretty far down. And as you can see, it now looks like he's sort of, you know, in the middle of these clouds and in the weather and all this stuff. He's in the environment, you can say. And then I'm just gonna add some extra clouds here to make it, you know, even more realistic. And again, I'm gonna click on the screen, make it a bit bigger, turn down the blend pretty low, and obviously flip it. And now we got some pretty good footage here. Now the last thing I'm gonna add is the rain. Just gonna drag it down here. And for the rain, again, I'm just gonna go here to apply mode and click on screen. Now as you can see, the rain is not here, but that's just because of the footage, so I'm just gonna trim it down a little bit, just like that, to make sure I get the best part of the raining sequence here. There we go. Now I'm good, and then I'm just gonna adjust the rain, rotate it a bit. Now I feel like the rain is a little bit too thick, so I'm just gonna take the opacity down a little bit. So there's the rain. Right, so if you want to make the background a little bit more exciting, you can do so by, you know, maybe adding some explosions or some ships or whatever, which is what I'm going to do now real quick. So I got this explosion right here, and then I'm going to turn the opacity down a little bit. Sort of drag it over here in the background. And then I'm going to add some blur effects, just like that. Take the blur size up a little bit. And then you can just, you know, change where in the frames you want to have the explosion. So now we have an explosion in the background as well. If you feel like the explosions are a little bit slow, you can just speed it up by finding the speed thingy here and just turn it up. I'm going to turn it up to like 2 so that it's now twice as fast. Just like that. So yeah, that is the explosion as well. Now, if you want to have some random ships moving in the background, for example a TIE fighter, what you want to do is you just take a picture or find a photo of the TIE fighter or whatever you want to have and just drag it down here and simply just make a polygon around it. So now that I have masked out my TIE fighter, I'm just going to move it wherever I want it to be. And obviously I'm going to size it down a bit. It's going to be pretty far away. Just like that. And to make sure it blends in more properly, I'm going to go over to operator and I'm going to make sure it's under, just like that. And then to actually make it move, I'm going to start over here. And in my case, I'm going to start this animation on frame number 5, and then I'm just going to go over to merge, click on center, and then I'm going to skip like 15 frames, and then I'm just going to move it across the entire screen, just like that. And there we have it. And now we have a pretty nice looking TIE fighter in the background, you know, just flying by. Now if you want to make this look even more realistic, you can apply some motion blur like that. Gonna do some adjustment here, just like that, and now it actually looks like it is flying at a pretty high speed. And now we have a full TIE Fighter animation just like that. And here is the final result with some extra effects added. So yeah, that is pretty much all you need to know in terms of, green screen and how to make background. If you found this helpful, please leave a like. If you haven't already, you can subscribe as well. That's greatly appreciated. And if you have any questions, just let me know down below. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.